Definitely 223.
Yes, 223.
Did this mean the large gear wheel at the back of the mechanism actually had 223 teeth? If so, what was its function? Then, with a chance discovery in the museum, the mystery began to unravel.
I went to the stores of the bronze collections and I started looking the places where the Antikythera were. So I found this tray and with 8 boxes, and then I was looking around and I've seen some other small fragments in the boxes. Altogether we have 82 fragments.
One of the new fragments in particular stood out. Mary had labelled it as Fragment F, but it also appeared to contain part of a curved dial.
Measuring only a few centimetres, Fragment F would turn out to be the key to the big wheel and the entire mechanism. A couple of weeks later, Tony Freeth started to examine the 3D X-rays taken of Fragment F.
I suddenly realised with mounting excitement that Fragment F formed a new scale on the lower back dial of the mechanism. In order to understand this new 4-turn spiral dial, I wanted to count the scale divisions round the whole dial, make an estimate of them. So I started to enter all the data into an advanced computer program, and the results seemed to come out as 220 to 225. So I became sure that it must be the magic number 223. We found the importance of the number 223 at the British Museum in London. 3 centuries before the golden age of Athens, around 700 BC, Babylonian astronomers had made the breakthrough. Over hundreds of years, they'd written thousands of astronomical tablets, many recording the huge significance of the number 223. The Babylonians called it the 18-year period. John, tell me what all these tablets are here.
We have maybe 3,000 or 4,000 astronomical tablets, ranging from reports sent to the king by scholars advising him on astronomical matters to how to interpret omens and what this meant for his kingship.
Tell me about the 18-year period.
So the 18-year period describes a cycle of 223 months used to predict eclipses. So this is what we would today call the Saros cycle. By looking at past observations, they saw that after 223 months in the 18-year cycle, eclipses of the same kind, say lunar eclipses, would repeat with very similar appearances.
Tell me, John, how the kings of Babylon reacted to an eclipse prediction.
A substitute, usually a criminal or someone like that, would be officially appointed to the throne and the real king would officially abdicate. So this is an example of one of the tablets that, again, is a letter describing this substitute king ritual. It mentions down here that the substitute king ascended the throne and took these bad omens, these signs, onto himself. Once they were deemed to have done their worst, the substitute king would be killed and the real king would come back to the throne unharmed, unscathed by what had happened.
And since the substitute king was killed, the omens were clearly correct there.
Indeed, of course.
This solved the mystery of the large gear at the back. It must have 223 teeth to turn the pointer of the 223-month Saros dial. The team had found something remarkable. They'd uncovered a machine that could look into the future. It could predict eclipses.
What we realized was that the ancient Greeks had built a machine to predict the future. It was an extraordinary idea that you could take scientific theories of the time and mechanize them to see what their outputs would be many decades hence. It was essentially the first time that the human race had created a computer.
The gear wheels in the mechanism programmed the computer, but where was the output data displayed? The clues were in Fragment F.
When you first start to look at the X-rays from Fragment F, there's nothing much there. And then the scales emerge as you go down through the layers. And not only scales, but you see these little scale divisions, blocks of characters here. And these look to me a little bit like Egyptian hieroglyphs, so I call them glyphs. The glyphs must be the eclipse predictions. I soon realized that the first letter here is a sigma. Sigma standing for the letter S. standing for Selene, the goddess of the moon. That must indicate a lunar eclipse. I next realized that the letter Eta, H in the Greek alphabet, must stand for Helios, the sun. So this must indicate a solar eclipse. Now, what became really tough was to try and decode the next symbol, the sort of anchor-like symbol, and this took me a long time. By chance, I found a book on Greek horoscopes. Amongst a whole mass of symbols, I found this symbol in the document. It was short for the word aura, meaning hour. So what that told us was that not only did this mechanism predict eclipses, but it predicted the hour of the eclipse as well. As the hand sweeps along the scale, here it's just reaching a lunar eclipse, and here then we've got a solar eclipse in this month, followed by a lunar eclipse in that month. Our research group pooled our resources